conflict has been rapidly escalating since last October.
All right. And from then, just when is the right time for the united opposition to deliberate and name their preferred presidential candidate that will face President William Ruto at the ballot come 2027? Well, the principals seem to be divided on whether to name their presidential candidate this year or early next year, which will be less than 6 months to the polls. This is despite the headache that the principals are facing as to whom among them shall be the presidential candidate in the united opposition. Our senior political affairs reporter, Chris Thairu, delves into the matter as he also checks on the pros and cons of making a presidential candidate earlier or later.
With just over 560 days remaining before Kenyans get another opportunity to elect political leaders for another 5-year cycle, the united opposition is grappling with two major challenges, even as they prepare to face their main rival, President William Ruto. Firstly being, who will fly the opposition flag? And secondly, which is the appropriate time to unveil the candidate?
Haijui kitu tulianzisha na mzee Kibaki.
With all indications, including opinion polls, hinting that Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka might be their preferred candidate, then the question begs, when is the right time to name their presidential candidate?
We begin discussing about naming a presidential candidate in January next year. So we have a whole year. Let Kenyans relax. And in any case, because it's not us, it's not the principals, it's not us as leaders who are going to name, it's the people who will help us. So what will happen the whole year? Kenyans will continue discussing so that by the time we name, it is a consensus. All people have agreed this is the kind of president we want.
However, there are other members in the opposition, including Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who hold a divergent view that it should be this year.
Within the first quarter, we should get the country a flag bearer, so the Kenyans can then begin to focus appropriately.
Well, that is the confusion that the united opposition is already facing, despite her decision that the principals are yet to decide on who among them will fly the opposition presidential flag.
The president is inviting us to name a presidential candidate because he is a master of narratives, to begin hitting on that candidate every day, so that he can. You see what happened the other day. He was on Rigathi Gachagua. Then suddenly NIS tells him, if elections are held today, Kalonzo is leading by far. Then he began bashing Kalonzo Musyoka. Why do we want to put ourselves in that situation?
In my opinion, the preferred time is now. You see, leadership is not a communal, it's individual. So what are you protecting by postponing the announcement of your candidate? You're not protecting anything.
It is worse than useless to even talk about the strategic time to unveil their flag bearer, because they are not even the bearers of a united strategy and dream for the country. If at all they're struggling to arrive merely at the time at when they should unveil their presidential candidate, how will they arrive at a plan to lead this country if they are chanced with the opportunity?
According to political analysts, their continued delay in naming a presidential candidate will definitely affect their presidential campaigns, as well as popularizing their manifesto to Kenyans.
Sadly for the united opposition, they are facing off a masterful tactician politically. And the more they remain confused, the more they await the guillotine.
It also allows the people to settle that candidate. It also allows the donors to know who to give the money. So I think there is every advantage in naming the united opposition candidate now as opposed to later.
We are not in a hurry. We are not going to get into that trap set by NIS and the president to be in a hurry to name our presidential candidate. Then they begin hitting them. By December, is no longer there.
It will be noted that the NARC coalition that propelled the late President Mwai Kibaki to power unveiled Kibaki only 3 months to the December elections in 2002. However, the question that still remains, if the united opposition cannot agree on the best time to unveil their preferred presidential candidate, how long will it take for them to settle on their presidential candidate? Chris Dairu, KTN, Nairobi.
And that report from Chris brings us to another break here on News Desk. We'll take a break and come back. And Calvin Yakundi has the tea. Actually, a business story on tea. Don't go away.